Hello everyone, welcome back to SwitchUp, and today Glenn and I are going to tell you all of the best games, the highest scores, and our favourite ones from last month.
Yep, so we reviewed 10 games last month in total, so these are the scores from lowest obviously up to the highest of those games that we reviewed.
Brilliant. Save yourself some money on your eShop credit. All the information is at the bottom of the screen or in the description.
So what game got the highest score for the month of August? Well, let's find out. Let's start in 10th place then, and that place goes to Gigabash, or I think it might be Gigabash actually, on reflection.
Yeah, you should never have a Gigabash.
No, does not sound pleasant. Now this is almost like a brawler, you know, where you play as kaiju in cityscapes, destroying what's around you and obviously trying to take the other kaiju down. On paper, this should have scored much higher. Like, very fun concept. Has been done before, of course, and there is fun to be had in this game, don't get me wrong. But what lets it down, first and foremost, performance. Way too many starters, especially online. Almost becomes like a slideshow at times, you know. Yeah. Price was a bit high for me, to be honest. There is a DLC, the Godzilla one that you can purchase. I think it's like £8. I mean, that should have been bundled in somehow, even if it was put the price up a bit. But you know, it's just a bit much. Yeah, it's a bit much because you're going to buy it for the Godzilla bit, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Let's have it right, you know. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. You know, it sounds negative again, but it's just that it had a few factors that pulled it down, I'm afraid. Yeah. And on balance, it got 68%.
Fair enough.
So in 9th place then, this is quite a recent one actually, we have 30XX or 30XX.
Yeah, 30XX or 30XX is a sequel to 20XX, and it takes things in a slightly different direction. Now I've got to be honest, I never really played that one. You know, I watched some videos of it and things like that just to get my bearings. But this one, I actually really like. You were like, oh, that looks exactly like Mega Man. Yeah. Mega Man X. And I was like, yeah, okay, I can see that. And obviously I know what Mega Man looked like. Yeah. But it gives you the option of either roguelite or not.
Oh, okay.
And I like that.
Yeah, that is good.
You know? So if you choose not, it sticks you in the middle of this big room, and you have all the levels around the outside. And you can just go in and do them as
Mega Man-esque.
How you want, you know. And you've got your upgrades and things like that. And if you choose to go the roguelite route, which strangely I did actually end up going.
Oh, nice.
I don't know why. I did know why. It was a bit easier.
Right.
It felt a bit easier. Right. Like the pure Mega Man stuff was hard, man.
Yeah, they were tough games back in the day.
I was going to say, I thought you'd say that. But yeah, it basically gives you the classic for the roguelite, the hub area, load of upgrades, 2 different characters to choose from. It is actually a really good game. There's a lot in there. There's like a boss rush you can do. But the best part was the community maps. So online, basically people can make Mega Man levels.
Oh, that's cool. That's nice.
So I played some classic Mega Man levels, got absolutely destroyed. But I was thinking like, this is really cool. Yeah. So yeah, you can't make the maps on the Switch version though.
Oh, that's going to be my next question. That's disappointing.
Yeah. But yeah, good game overall, and it scored a SwitchUp score of 83%.
Lovely job. Right, we've got joint 7th next, and the first of those 2 games is Adore.
Yeah, Adore was reviewed by Asdin on the channel, and I'm not even going to say adored it because it's just too easy.
It's too easy, yeah.
He quite enjoyed it, to be fair. It was a weird hybrid of like a real-time monster collecting game where you use the monsters to do your bidding. I don't know if you were like a summoner or what's the one called that controls creatures, like a druid? I don't know. One of those.
Is it like a necromancer or something?
Well, he controls the dead, doesn't he? He's all about the dead. But
dead creatures.
The creature man.
Yeah, the creature man. That's the one.
And you get different ones, and they're kind of your weapons. You know, they do your damage. You control them directly. It's real time, as I said. But yeah, he quite enjoyed this. I can't say too much because obviously he did the full review of it. Yeah. But I think overall he gave it a SwitchUp score of.
He gave it 85%. Yeah. So very much enjoyed that one. And on to the other one that was joint 7th and was also written by Asdin, funnily enough, and that's Black Skylands.
Yeah. So this actually really interested me when it was in Glen's upcoming games video. It's essentially like a mixture of a top-down, not quite bullet hell, not quite strategy, and not quite RPG.
Oh, right, okay.
So you can leave your sky ship and you've got these different missions that you have to undertake, and you have to go back to this kind of mothership kind of thing. But it looks really interesting, and it had kind of a territory aspect where you have to conquer and break down new territories and move into new areas.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then you could move your base ship so that you didn't have to constantly go, back and forth.
Yeah.
But I like that idea. It felt quite fresh and new. You can improve your ship, upgrades, things like that. I guess in that regard, it takes some element of like Dredge where you're upgrading your ship and going out,
Yeah. I mean, this is one that I've got on my Switch ready to play, but this review came out while I was away on holiday, so I've not watched it, and I'm not going to watch it because I want to jump in and just experience this game, but I'm looking forward to it, and Aston clearly enjoyed it because it also got 85%. Right, we're going into joint fifth now, and you'll see a jump up in scores from this point on. And in joint fifth, then the first game is Brotato.
There's something about saying Brotato with a London accent. It just is perfect, isn't it? Then we got Brotato.
Do you know what it reminds me of? I'm going to make myself sound right sap now, but because my little boy watches CBeebies and there's something on there called Small Potatoes, and every time I say potato, I think of the song for that show.
As long as he doesn't start singing, we'll be okay.
Yeah, exactly, right.
So Brotato was essentially a Vampire Hunters clone. Vampire Hunters or Vampire Survivors?
Survivors.
Yeah, I get that wrong every time. Which is a top-down, like an arena shooter where you're just avoiding enemies.
Yes. Yeah,
you know, the arena sizes change. The thing with Brotato is you have loads of different classes, and each class is essentially like a different, I don't want to say a different game, but it feels very different when you play through as that class.
Yeah.
Basically, each wave, or there's a few waves, and then that's the level. At the end of that, you get a few upgrades pop up on the screen. You know, the standard. It's just addictive, man.
Yeah.
It's really addictive. I worked my way through a few runs. There are a few massively overpowered builds. Like if you get SMGs, get all SMGs, it's the easiest game in the world.
Okay.
You just stand in the middle of the screen and it just destroys everything for the whole game. So yeah, a little hint for you there. Nice one. But yeah, really good game. I thought it was brilliant, and it scored a SwitchUp score of 88%.
So, yeah, to juxtapose against that in terms of games, in joint fifth also was Red Dead Redemption. So, completely different end of the scale, wasn't it, really?
Did you play Red Dead Redemption back in the day?
Yes, I did. Very much enjoyed it. I played, I played the two that you get in this, actually. I played the game, the base game, and the zombie something.
Yes.
I can't think what it's called.
Yes. It's called Undead Nightmare
That's the one. That's the one, which I really enjoyed, actually.
And
really
I'm the other way around. I played the base game and loads of online, and then never played the zombie game. So I'm really enjoying that side of things.
Yeah.
It was more of a performance-centric review, you know, because we'd both played it back in the day.
Of course, yeah.
It's Red Dead Redemption, and if you haven't played it, regardless of all the hate that it received before it came out for the price and all of this stuff, and ironically, out of the two games, you had Red Dead and you had Metal Gear.
Yes.
Red Dead was getting all the hate, Metal Gear wasn't, and now, after Nintendo Life's preview, everyone's like, hang on, we're running these at like 4p, you know, resolution is just like 4p. One giant pixel. So people are now switching their hate.
You see Snake's eye, his pupil.
Exactly. Whereas these are like flawless.
Yeah.
You know, they look incredible, run well, as the bigger boys consoles versions. And they're just as good as they ever were. I would have liked to have seen gyroscopic controls, Glen.
You do surprise me saying
Yes,
that.
I thought you might be. But yeah, they're good games, really good. And they scored a SwitchUp score of 88%, and it would have been higher if they'd have included multiplayer, which I always loved.
Yeah, see, I never played the multiplayer back in the day. I just didn't, so it makes no odds to me, but I can see why. If it was in there originally, you know, why not again?
Exactly.
But in fourth place then, we had Blasphemous 2.
Blasphemous 2, yeah. You reviewed the first one.
I did.
I think. And yeah, that was a really liked game, wasn't it, in the community. Blasphemous 2 literally carries on from where the last game left off. No story spoilers, don't worry. Well, other than that you play as the same character.
Yeah.
You know, you play as the same character. It's funny because when you talk about it, it sounds quite boring because it doesn't really do, in terms of like Metroidvania, you know, Souls-like, it does all the same things, but it's one of those that does everything really well.
Yeah,
you know. But I will say that I didn't like the art as much. So you've got the base art, it's great.
Yeah.
But the cutscenes used a comic book style.
Oh.
That just didn't look good. Do you remember the original had that like grotesque pixel art?
Yeah, that was one of the highlights of it, wasn't it?
Really
like
was one of the highlights. And I think the developer, with their bigger budget, thought, all right, let's go get, I don't know, someone famous that does art.
Yeah.
To do that. Not saying the other person wasn't, but I just don't like it as much.
Yeah,
and I've seen a lot of comments, people are like, oh, it just doesn't have that same like, ugh.
Yeah, exactly right. It wasn't even grimy. It was like macabre. Macabre, wasn't it? And it fit perfectly for the obviously for the content matter. But yeah, I didn't realise that it changed it up in this one. Right.
Yeah, and it was a shame. You got to a cutscene, and you're like, Before I'd be like, what's going to happen now? Yeah, I remember like the mask opening on the old one, like blood pouring down. I was like, gross. But regardless, really enjoyed it. Blasted through it. Got told off. Had to pull the review down because I showed a late like end game area.
Oh no!
Did you know that?
I knew it got taken down. I didn't realise that.
Yeah, I had an email. You've showed like the end game area we told you not to show. I was like, oh, flip.
I thought you just missed the embargo or something.
I get that one quiet, didn't I? So you had to do a bit of cutting and trimming. and then re-upload. And it got a SwitchUp score of 89%, and I got a lot of people moaning, oh, you should have given it 90. I'm like, well, you can give it 90 if you want.
Exactly, in your head.
Yeah.
Add 1 point on,
done.
everyone's happy. Right, in third place, talking to 90%, whoops, give the score away.
Ooh.
We've got Bomb Rush Cyberfunk.
Yeah, this was such a surprise.
Yeah.
We've had a few games try and emulate Jet Set Radio over the years, and they do an all right job, but you never really go in expecting it to surpass the thing you're looking for.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think if you had the two games released in the same week, people would be like, wow, Bomb Rush Cyberfunk is amazing. Jet Set Radio is really, really good. I think it's better.
It's funny with this game, or not this game, sorry, but the original with Jet Set Radio, because I started to wonder over the years whether it was just that game was of its time, and no matter how good a version of it you made these days, it just wouldn't hold up anymore. And I think the same thing of things like Crazy Taxi.
Yes, 100%.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
100%.
Are they just of their time? That arcade or late arcade era, when arcades were starting to die out, but the machines you were getting were high quality. Is it just those games they don't fit anymore, but then one comes along and shows it can work?
And I would say this probably does a little bit more than those. There's a lot more depth. There's a lot. It does the hidden items, the little trick areas you have to do and things like that. But then it's just a little more deep.
Yeah.
In terms of that, like the police are after you have to change costumes to evade them and stuff. Like it's just a little bit more funny. With Jet Set Radio, when I first played it, was it a Dreamcast?
It was the Dreamcast, yeah.
I remember being like, wow, this looks amazing. And then like a few hours later, I was like, I liked it, but I don't have the same hype. Same as Crazy Taxi.
Yeah.
I really liked Crazy Taxi, but I was like, I feel like I came from a really deep game to that and was like, and I know you love arcade.
Yeah.
So for you, it was probably quite different.
Well, it was funny. It was, I guess, but I had a similar sort of experience because I never had a Dreamcast.
Yeah.
My cousin did, and he brought his Dreamcast around one day. He was staying for the weekend, and he had his games. And the first one we played was Jet Set Radio, and really enjoyed it. I mean, I think I probably had like a Super Nintendo at the time, so it was unreal the difference, But then we played Choo Choo Rocket, and obviously I should have played a bit of that and then wanted to play, but I didn't. I played Choo Choo Rocket for hours.
Rocket was a great game.
Such a good
clean,
game.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, really clever as well. But yeah, so looking back, I was like, did I like Jet Set Radio as much as I think I do now? I'm sure I did, but...
Controversial.
Yeah.
Don't you think that happens a lot?
Yeah, I do.
People look back and they go, everyone loved that game. I'm going to talk about how amazing it was. I thought it was really good, and I said that at the start of the video. I thought it was a good game. I'm not going to be like, I think it was the best game since sliced bread.
Yeah.
But you see that a lot.
You do. A lot of bandwagon jumping.
Bandwagon. This got a SwitchUp score of 90%.
Right into the top two, and in second place then, the game you've already mentioned actually, is Vampire Survivors.
Yeah, it was a real blast playing this one with my daughter.
Yeah.
She's getting good at games now, which is quite nice because I can just chill a little bit, you know. She kind of helps out with a lot of these reviews now, which is amazing. This is such a simple game. You get your character, you choose your class, you can buy new ones with the coins you earn, and exactly like Brotato, you jump into the stage and you're just trying to avoid waves of enemies, and it doesn't even sound fun, but it's brilliant. It's brilliant. You know how roguelites work.
Well, like you said, arcade games back in the day. It's just that's exactly what these days, especially. That's exactly the sort of games I like to play. I like a bit of progression. I like to have a story game on the back burner, but I do like to just fire one of these up and just
Yes, that's a very good point actually. And if people wanted the distinction between this and Brotato was that this had progression.
Right.
This had meta progression, which I need in a roguelite. I need to get more powerful. Yeah.
Absolutely. It doesn't. Yeah. It's funny saying someone that loves the arcades. I don't like a game to feel like a complete waste of time. Now, obviously, in the arcades, you were going for that high score. Yeah. And that was enough to make you feel like you'd achieve something. In a roguelite, it's got to be that overall progression, hasn't it?
Absolutely.
But with all that said, this got a SwitchUp score of 91%. So, in first place then, and I'm sure you'll agree it's going to be a cracking score, we had Sea of Stars.
Yeah, Sea of Stars. It's another one that's, you have to step outside of the hype, because it does look good. There are, it's an amazingly accurate RPG from, old school era.
From that era, yeah.
It does a couple of new things. I like the combat system. I'm not saying that's completely new, but I just like the idea of targeting specific weaknesses on an enemy and gives you something to go for. I really like, actually, and I don't know why more RPGs, turn-based, don't use it, real-time blocking and real-time attacking boosts.
Yeah.
I personally just really like that. You don't have to do it, but if you want to, you can. I really like that there's accessibility options in there. There's one that makes it so that you get double the health.
Right.
For the game. I'm not going to lie, I use that once or twice.
Yeah.
And then there's one that's really crap, actually. There's an accessibility option to help with the timing.
Right.
But what it does is it fires off a flare after you get it right.
Oh.
And the controller already rumbles.
Okay.
So it's completely pointless.
Nice one.
It's crap. They could have had on screen something to show you, press it now.
Yeah, 3, 2, 1, press.
Exactly. But no. No.
It's funny you mention having that kind of interactivity with a turn-based, RPG, because I remember playing Paper Mario for the first time on the N64, which did do that.
Nice.
So again, there were certain like mini games that you had to press at a certain time and you'd get extra points and whatnot. But if you didn't do them, they weren't optional, because if you didn't do them, you'd take more damage. And I didn't like it because I like to make my move almost like a game of chess. Sit back and watch them make theirs. And when I had to then get involved, it didn't do it for me. I've got to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's nice to hear that this one is optional. Actually,
it is. Yeah, it is optional. I was trying to think of my critiques again. What was I worried about in the game? Oh yeah, it was the navigation.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Do you remember?
You mentioned it in the interesting games.
Not having a map and not having an objective. So if you manage to go fishing for an hour and forget what it was you were supposed to be doing, you haven't got a clue.
Yeah.
Like you're nothing. And people were like, but that's what it used to be like. I understand that, but it's 2023.
Exactly.
Having an optional, one of those accessibility options, map waypoints. Click it on. Thanks very much. See you later. I'm off down to do the objective.
I couldn't agree more. As you say, emulating things or homaging things from the past is great, but I can play Earthbound on the Switch Online. If I want to play a newer game, I want it to act like a newer game, albeit it's referencing the past. Just my two pence worth. But I do really think that if it's optional, everyone's happy, isn't they? Everyone wins.
Right, everyone wins. Brilliant game nonetheless. You should definitely get it.
Yeah.
Oh, we've ordered the physical, haven't we?
Yeah, Play Asia.
Happy day. Play Asia,
we have got a link down there if you want to save a little 5%.
Like we did.
Like we did, yeah.
This one got a SwitchUp score, highest of the month, 94%.
Nice one. So yeah, that's the 10 games we reviewed for the month of August. What do you make of those scores? Is there a game that you played that we didn't review? What would you have given it? Just put all that down in the comment section. It's nice for us to read, but it's nice for other people to know what other games are about,
Exactly right. Thanks very much. Thanks. Save yourself some money. All the links, all the stuff. For all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers, guys. See ya!